Welcome back to Truth Hurts, where we expose corrupt politicians and the lying corporate media. I'm Jake Duesenberg, your host. We're broadcasting live from Roseville, Minnesota, in the belly of the beast, the liberal zombie apocalypse of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Joining me, as usual, Mr. Mega Jesse. How you doing there, Mega Jesse?
I'm doing good. Yeah, we've got a lot to get into today with Tim Walz. I mean, the Democrat Party is propping him up. They are, now under consideration for him and Kamala Harris. I mean, what a team. So we'll be talking about that. Everything that people could expect from Tim Walz in a position like that. Some new polling that's out there. We'll be talking about the shooting, a little more information on that. And we'll also be talking about the MPPOA, which is the Peace and Police Officer Association, which is endorsing Democrats. They've endorsed radical left policies. We're going to be exposing them with one of my articles here today.
All right. Running the dials, as always, Mr. Deep State himself, Dawson. How you doing there, Dawson?
It's me. I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to spend the weekend up in Detroit Lakes and de-stress and do some fishing. I'm pumped.
Wait, you're actually fishing?
Yeah, yes, I fish.
Oh, when you said fish fry, I didn't realize you were saying fishing.
Yeah, I'm hoping to catch a northern. It's been a long time since I've caught one. I want to catch another.
We'll talk after the show.
Bet.
Not reading your comments at home is Mr. Late Man himself, Paul Tucci. I guess the guy doesn't own a clock or a watch or anything like that. So eventually he'll be here. If you want to be part of the program, go in the comment section, write something, or Rumble rant. I'll read your Rumble rant. I'm a professional. But eventually Tucci will be here reading your comments.
Yeah, we're running on Tucci time.
Apparently he's running the show these days. Also, we couldn't do the show without our great sponsors, Warren Wessel of Keller Williams Realty. If you're buying a home, you're selling a home, you got to go with somebody you can trust, someone I can trust. He's my realtor, my friend, also sings in my church choir, not a joke. Call Warren Wessel, Keller Williams Realty at 612-419-7453. Now, if you're buying a home, you might as well give people a chance at financing that home. The good guys at John Galt Mortgage Company, they think like you and me. They post their beliefs out there on social media. You can go to johngaltmortgage.com. You could just type in John Galt Mortgage in Google. It'll go and pull them right up. So there you go, johngaltmortgage.com. It looks like we got Laser Jim from Gaylord, Minnesota. Cindy Lou Waltz has certainly sold his soul, and Tucker 91, as always, is in our comment section talking about his uncle once caught a northern pike, and while reeling it in, a bigger pike tried eating it, and he got two fish in one cast. I got a similar story to that, actually. All right, we have from the bus traveling to the RNC convention, Dale Zorb, who is a delegate with the RNC from Minnesota, and he's going to give us some insights on how things are going at the convention. Dale, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, no, I can't hear him. Hold on one second.
Can't hear?
I can hear Dale. So
Can you hear him?
Yep, it's working on my end. I can hear you, Dale.
Okay. Well, Dale, tell us what's going on there at the RNC
Have you got
convention
video?
right
No video.
You have it? What's that?
No video.
No
now.
video.
Do you not have video?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, we're on the bus heading to the convention again, and we can talk about last night's was an exciting night. You want to mention some names? I can tell you about each of them. Let's see.
Peter Navarro, that was amazing.
Yeah, that's Janet Lynn. He's sat here next to me, and she's talking about Peter Navarro, who got out of prison yesterday morning and immediately flew all the way to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to be on the show. And the backstory on him is he was one of Trump's closest advisors, and the corrupt January 6th committee demanded that he come and turn over documents to them, and they subpoenaed him, and he said no. He exerted executive privilege, and Biden's Injustice Department arrested him, tried him, and sent him to prison. Got out yesterday morning.
Yeah, it was just so emotional. The crowd really reacted well to Peter. Showed lots of love and support.
That's true.
And the World War II vet, Dale, talk about how great he was.
There was a World War II vet. I hope you guys watched it last night. And he was 97 years old, and he stormed the beaches of Normandy, and he gave a wonderful talk about what he did. And at the end of his speech, he said, if Trump wins, he's going to re-enlist. And that really brought the House down.
Yep, I saw that part of the speech too, where he said he would re-enlist if Trump was back in there. How was J.D. Vance? What was his speech like?
J.D. Vance is an amazing speaker, and someday he'll be an amazing president in 4 more years. He's really got it together. He went on for probably a half an hour and no notes, and he really brought everybody together. He is from simple, small town, Middleton, Ohio, and he grew up poor. His mother was a drug addict, and
Mother was there.
his mother was there. They showed her in the crowd.
10 years clean.
Yep. And he was really raised by his grandmother. And they told a little story I thought was funny. They said after Grandma died, they went through her house to clean it out. And Grandma had 19 loaded handguns stashed all the way around the house because she said she can't walk very well. So she wanted to be ready if anything happens. 19 loaded handguns. Boy, that's more than you've got, Jake.
Yeah, well, Jay can't even hear you, but yeah, no, I think he did give a good speech that was, it seemed like it was exactly what the crowd wanted to hear, and I'm happy that J.D. Vance was selected as VP. It seems as if the crowd is happy too. It's all positive reactions there for J.D. Vance then.
Yep. And then let's see. Donald Trump Jr. gave a wonderful speech too, and he is really on the mark. It's the Democrats don't have anything like these Republican candidates and the Republican speakers. Don Jr. also brought up his eldest granddaughter. Hi.
17 years old. Yep.
And she brought down the House too. She's a great speaker herself, and she talked about how compassionate President Trump is, and how he always thinks of her, and
How he calls her at school and
Yep.
wants to ask her all kinds of questions, and then she goes, "Grandpa, I can't talk right now."
so it was just really a wonderful show, and I hope everybody catches tonight's show.
Oh yeah, Dale. So what other speakers are there? Obviously, everybody knows about Trump. That's what everybody's looking forward to tonight. Is there any other speakers that have been listed that you guys are looking forward to?
Let's see. Well, Dana White from UFC fame is going to be one of the speakers tonight, and let's see. I don't have the list in front of me here. They don't tell us who's going to be here, and I think
Sure.
it changes a little bit. But I saw something on the television in the lobby that maybe Elon Musk might be there. Hard to say.
And then Eric Trump is going to introduce his dad tonight.
Yep.
Okay.
All right,
And that'll be-
my last question, then we gotta let you go. What was the reception for Matt Gaetz? Because I know he gave a speech yesterday.
He did, and he was very well received.
Are you guys aware of the little confrontation he had with Kevin McCarthy on Tuesday?
Yes. I didn't witness that, but I've heard about it. I've heard on the internet about it.
So,
So,
Dale, your sense was on Tuesday when you joined our show that the crowd was way more grassroots, anti-Rhino. Are you still getting that sentiment?
Yes, I still have that sentiment. They are our people. They are mega Republicans. I'll tell you. So Nikki Haley came up and spoke last night at Trump's request to try to bring unity to the crowd. And while there were some people cheering her, there were a lot of boos. So there were a lot of people booing. So
I'm sure that
those
wasn't
were mega Republicans.
I'm sure that wasn't picked
Yes.
up on camera.
Yeah, well, it was happening. I was there and I witnessed it. But
awesome.
in the end, she gave a nice talk about coming together and committing her delegates to Trump, of course. And all in all, it was very inclusive again. And Donald Trump is bringing in the labor unions, the Hispanics, the Black community. I mean, there's going to be nobody left except for elites and brain dead people voting for Biden.
Yep.
The old guard
Yeah.
dying off and getting dementia.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well, cool. Well, hey, thanks for joining. Have a safe bus trip over there and say hi to our good friend David Han on the bus.
Yeah, he's in the front. We're in the back.
All right.
We get, yeah. I say for all people, get the back of the bus. Yeah, we should maybe start a movement.
There you go. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Bye. Oh man. Great TV there. Didn't even what happened? He didn't know how to turn on his camera.
I'm gonna run with, even if he did turn it on, it probably wouldn't look that great. That would be my guess. But
Yeah, I didn't even have audio. The headset wasn't working. Tushi, how you doing?
I also did not have audio, so
Yeah, well, you were. No one feels sorry for you. You didn't even show up on time. You got comments galore, and you haven't read a single one. Now, listen, I'm dead serious. I was gonna say this in the pre-show. Go easy on the wings, buddy. Go easy on the because some people did not appreciate how much you've been eating the like. Okay,
it's
as
mostly
I say this,
it's mostly the ladies.
the
too,
ladies,
so.
yes, and I don't want to lose the lady demographic on our show. Okay, so
why invite Tushi on?
because
I remember-
ladies do like Tushi,
yeah.
but they just don't want to see him eating wings like nonstop. All right, so
But as far as the wings from Quinny's Pub and Grill, they did want. There was some discussion about the Tushy sauce, and that
Yes.
the ladies did.
there-
Somebody,
people do want. Yes, they do,
Yes.
and Janice's Pub and Grill, Quinny's Pub and Grill, is doing a
Yep.
great job. And I know you look.
Oh, yeah, we
he
gotta read
can't
some
take his
comments here.
hands off those wings because they're that good. All right, what are the comments here? You gotta comments first, then wings second, and actually showing up on time first. My God,
all right.
first. This is the most. This regular gives
We
me
haven't read
headaches.
any of these comments yet at all.
No, that's
Hey.
your job.
Tucker 91. Good afternoon, everyone. Bill Dengsman, $20 says Tushy's late again today. Well, Bill, I hope somebody took your bet.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, we did on your behalf.
Tucker 91. My uncle once caught a northern pike, and while
Okay,
reeling it
okay,
in-
okay, all right.
All right.
We're
Fair.
gonna move on. Jeez, so Lou, oh my gosh. Roxy, I do see your comment about does Walz give up his governorship to run. We're gonna do that. And yes, razzle dazzle. We do miss Bridget. We miss her a lot.
Those would have been good comments to read.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's get to this. We bullshit around too much at the beginning, and I apologize. We should get to the crux of it. We have Walz speaking at the RNC. That is not normal. I don't know if people understand that. The opposition party usually gives or yields a week to the party that they're against, right? Although Walz sees it amongst themselves to fly out to do a alert on Project 2025, which is so dangerous, guys. Project 2025. Hide your children, right? Hide your wives, hide your children. Project 2025 is coming for you. So Tim Walz goes to Milwaukee to give a press conference. And here is basically what Tim Walz has to say. Let's go ahead and play this. A1 Dawson. It should be queued up on the right timeline when Walz speaks the first time.
Over to Governor Walz. Good morning, everyone. I'm Tim Walz. I'm the governor of the great state of Minnesota, just the western neighbor here. I'm glad you're all here, and I know it's day 3 of the convention. Each one of these has a theme. Last night was bend the knee and grovel, apparently, and today is Celebrate Russia Day, I guess, with our foreign policy and destroy NATO. But look, I'm honored to be here with our leader like Congresswoman Escobar, but especially with Amanda. And Republicans should be ashamed that Amanda is standing up here today. She's standing up here today because she nearly lost her damn lives because they were in that medical room. They believe it's their decision on her personal bodily autonomy. So as we start to talk about the issues and as we start to see this idea of J.D. Vance, I just want to say this. The perfect Frankenstein monster created by the Heritage Foundation. And I say this because I read Hillbilly Elegy. I read it because I come from a town of 400. I had 24 kids in my graduating class, 12 were cousins. And I know a little bit about small towns. And his dismissive, derogatory approach to how he viewed it, it's not a cultural bias that people had. It's decades of policies of people like him and venture capitalists and others that gutted many of our small towns. The idea that this guy would understand or have a policy. The thing that makes small towns work The things that we value most around freedoms, whether it's reproductive freedoms, personal freedoms, but the things that make small towns work, this was not in Hillbilly Elegy. It should be, mind your own damn business. That's how small towns work. They work because you respect your neighbor and you understand their choices, who they marry, their own healthcare decisions, what books they read. So as we hear all the talk about, what's going to happen and what's going to happen with Joe Biden, the good thing is with the Republicans, they don't have much division within their party. They bend the knee and they grovel to someone who told us that the election was stolen, someone who overturned Roe versus Wade, someone who told us he didn't know anything about NATO as he puts all of our futures at risk, and someone who won't address the biggest issues around climate change. Those are the issues that Americans care about. Those are the things that they want to see us get done. The Biden-Harris administration has delivered on all of their promises. It is galling to me to watch governors go up there and bend their knee. The very governors who go and cut ribbons for infrastructure projects that they had nothing to do with and their Republican members voted against because Joe Biden delivered. Or go up there and tell us they're going to take away the ACA and put in their plan. Yeah, I'll hold my breath for that. 4 years and we don't see a damn thing. And we have the most pro-union, pro-worker president in the history of this country, and I say that as a union member, who's there for our collective bargaining rights, who's there for our workers' safety, who's there for our pension, and has made a commitment to protect one of the most sacred things that J.D. Vance and his advanced Yale degree tells us the biggest threat to our national finances and well-being is Social Security. Paying out the money that we paid into people to make sure that they're not in poverty. And that's where he goes. Couldn't be the venture capitalists and hedge fund managers' taxes. That wouldn't be the problem. But we get an opportunity in America in not too long to have a binary choice between someone who cares deeply about the American public, who has policies that made a difference, versus someone who made it very clear. Trump is for Trump. Truest words he ever said. That's exactly where it is. So when we talk about building this country from the bottom up in the middle class, as Joe Biden talks about, it's about unions, it's about personal freedoms, it's about addressing our biggest issues, and it's about taking care of our littlest Americans. And with that, someone who's done this, someone who's led in Congress, someone I'm proud to call a friend, Congresswoman Escobar.
Okay. All right. So why would Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, spend that much time in a press conference in Milwaukee during the RNC convention, which is a little unprecedented, going after J.D. Vance, the vice presidential candidate for the Republican ticket?
Right. It's very clear that he was put up there by the Democrats because the Democrats want to prop him up, and it's crazy to see that they're doing this. It'd be like if Glenn Youngkin were to go to the DNC convention, told to by the Republicans. We would see through that too. Mm-hmm. So Tim Walz is obviously there to trash J.D. Vance, and why is he not going after Trump? I think because they could be lining him up for that VP spot because they want to see who can be the guy to go against J.D. Vance. And, it's just so crazy the way that he's talking in that he's saying that the Democrats are the ones who want everybody to be able to mind their own business. It's like, what are you talking about? He is the biggest tyrant. He is the one who has increased government. God in our lives wants to take away our constitutional rights, and he's the one who wants to tell people to mind their own damn business. I mean, give me a break. And then he also says that Biden is the most pro-labor, pro-union president in history. I mean, give me a break. That's the craziest joke I've ever heard in my life. He's definitely pro-union bosses. He's definitely for the corrupt union bosses. Is he pro-labor? I wouldn't say so when he's sending all of our jobs overseas. He also says it's a binary choice, as if there's not multiple options on the ballot. Obviously Republicans and Democrats like to do that. They like to pretend that it is what it is. It's Biden or Trump. I mean, we have to worry about these third parties. They're definitely out there. But, I mean, the fact that J.D. Vance is targeted throughout this entire thing, that Tim Walz wants to tie him into the Project 2025, it shows how desperate the Democrats are because they have no talking points. They have to use Project 2025 as everything, even for J.D. Vance. So Tim Walz is starting to show his cards, and people need to be aware that he is under consideration right now for the vice presidential role.
All right, let's go into this. A2 Dawson, this is from ABC News, and this has been updating throughout the day. So they're tracking the newest moves here, calling for Biden basically to be gone It says, and this is from 27 minutes ago, Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries pushed the party to delay its nominating process. Multiple sources tell ABC News. This comes after Schumer met privately with President Biden on Saturday in Delaware. Following the meeting, Schumer only described it as a good meeting, which is a big sign, by the way. Like, he just comes out, it was a good meeting. He doesn't talk about how we need to stand unified behind Joe Biden. So it was a good meeting. So that was a big indicator to anyone paying attention. This is the biggest indication so far that Schumer is keeping an open mind about Biden's future. Schumer and Jeffries spoke and both agreed to make the push, according to the sources. By the way, I think we should mention, Jesse, what they're talking about is actually an online nominating process, and it was actually under a false thing. They actually asked Walz this question multiple times, which they were always alluding to. Ohio, by rule, had to have it by, was it April 7th or whatever it was?
Right.
Or, I'm sorry, August 7th? And that's not even the case.
Right. Ohio changed the law. The Democrats are still trying to pretend like Ohio could change it up. They're still trying to pretend like Ohio has the cards here. I mean, the Democrats have the cards, and they're trying to use that as an excuse. It's honestly for the best interest of Republicans for them to move forward with this virtual roll call. It's not good for the country. It's not good for the process. It's not good for the Democratic Party because they're manipulating their process. And, this really gives DNC chair Jamie Harrison a whole lot of power. He's the one who truly has the cards because, he was put into place by Joe Biden. Once Joe Biden became the president, Biden gets the pick over who the the DNC committeeman chair is, just like Trump has authority over who runs the RNC once he's the nominee. So Biden had the same authority back in 2020. He chose Jamie Harrison, who stands for nothing, who ran against Lindsey Graham, who is just a big-time establishment tool who can raise the money, which is why he has that position. But that guy, Jamie Harrison, has been standing by Biden up until when Jamie Harrison decides to allow the rules to be changed, and Tim Walz is on that rules committee for the DNC convention. So there's a lot of moving parts going on still. The Democrats are obviously changing course. I mean, the fact that we have Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries out there trying to delay the process shows that the Democrats they're nervous, and they know they don't want to nominate Joe Biden. They're hoping that it's not too late to be able to convince them. And Joe Biden, for now, he's still saying he still wants to run, but he's even admitted that if a health problem arises where doctors come to him and say that he can't do the job, that he'll step aside. Kamala Harris's team is now rumored that her team is now telling Biden to step aside so that she can take over, which would mean that she needs a vice president. Who would fill that role? Someone like Tim Walz. They need a white guy to stand next to Kamala Harris to make her seem normal. And Tim Walz, he's implemented the Democratic agenda on every step of the way. So the Democratic convention is going to be even crazier than the Republican convention. The Republicans are putting up a unified front, but Tim Walz says that it's the Republicans who have this unified front, and the Democrats, are all divided. The Democrats are the ones who have been covering up for Dementia Joe this entire time. So I'm not sure where this is coming from. Maybe it's because it's now obvious to the public that this guy can't do the job. That they're raising some alarm. So. I guess, people like him want unity no matter what. They don't want Democrats to be able to speak their mind. They don't want free speech. They don't want people to be able to question their government. And that shows exactly why the Democrats love him so much.
All right, let's talk about the 5 bad things about Walz. Now, this is interesting. A lot of people that aren't from Minnesota might not know much about Tim Walz. Or you're new to Minnesota, you don't know much about Tim Walz. I came up with the 5. We'll see if you can agree with me. Jesse knows Tim Walz very well. And Tushy, I would almost venture to say no one has door knocked or made more phone calls against Tim Walz than you in Minnesota. So I think here on this set, we know everything about Tim Walz. So you tell me if you guys disagree, but I know we're all going to agree. The number one reason we don't want Tim Walz, but the number one reason why he is a bad guy is he was a COVID tyrant. We always talk about Andrew Cuomo and Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer. These people that put the elderly patients in COVID patients in elderly homes that locked down their states, shut down businesses, massive businesses shutting down for good, life savings and dreams that people had just shuttered. By the way, liquor stores wide open. Tim Walz was with all those other governors doing it in Minnesota. And Minnesota is not a blue state. It's like we call it purple, but it's very red once you leave Minneapolis and St. Paul. That's actually why I brought the Action for Liberty 2001 state fair sign that's got Governor Walz taking a bite out of your liberty with a greasy
2021.
Constitution. What's that?
He said 2001.
2021. That's correct. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
that'd be crazy. Prediction of
that was a
future,
hell of a
yeah.
prediction, right?
Mhm.
2021, and this is the guy. I mean, luckily we ended his powers before vaccine mandates came out. But, I mean, otherwise he probably would have doubled down on that.
Mhm.
So can we agree that is the number one bad thing about Tim Walz is that he is a COVID tyrant?
Mhm.
Okay. Here's number 2, what I got. He signed a genital mutilation bill for minors, and this is so fascinating. In Minnesota, let's imagine you have a divorced couple, and there's a parent in another state that actually protects that child from getting hormonal treatment or genital mutilation surgeries. Minnesota has become a sanctuary state for this grotesque, should be illegal activity. It's become a sanctuary state for that because of Tim Walz. This guy paraded 6-year-olds on the stage to sell this package of what did they call it? What the transgender sanctuary state? They actually had a name for it. What
Yeah,
was it?
I think that it was that
Something like sanctuary
transgender
state. Yeah.
sanctuary.
So they paraded 6-year-olds on stage to the point where they're like, if a 6-year-old tells you who they are, we have to listen to them. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I think history, maybe not even that far in the future, 10 years from now, we'll look back at this and go, how did we ever agree to this kind of abusive behavior on kids? And Tim Walz signed off on this thing as governor. Number 3, this is such a radical thing. You heard him in that press conference talk about them basically not believing in climate change. Like Trump and J.D. Vance, they're going to do nothing for climate change. Well, climate change is a scam, okay? There's nothing these guys are doing that's going to change the direction of this country or this world or this universe, right? They're so naive to think this stuff. But I understand why they're doing it, because they basically want to march towards socialism, more control by the government. And Tim Walz has done that to a degree that most people can't even fathom if they're outside of Minnesota, because this is the upper Midwest. We don't do this kind of shit. But literally in Minnesota, he has signed into law a bill that would require all electrical companies to be carbon neutral. No, did I say that? Not carbon neutral. Not because carbon neutral could be just offset. They have to be carbon free. Carbon free by 2040. 2040. Which is already changing thing. They took a coal power plant off.
2030.
Yeah, it's 2040. It's like 80% by 2030, but completely carbon free by 2040. So that's crazy extreme. And if I ever had Walz,
well, the Democrats know it's not realistic either. You know, they have been presented with the facts. It's not like they just, were all climate cultists. We got to go with it. They were presented the facts. They knew exactly what was going on. They wanted to do it as a measure to, show that they were standing with it. They wanted to. Even they knew that they couldn't implement it. They say they're willing to adjust in the future. But the fact that they're willing to put in a bad policy in the first place and then say, we'll adjust later. I mean, what are you talking about? You can't do something like that. And obviously, Minnesota is a big energy state. There's so much that we could be doing for energy jobs here. But instead, we've got people like Tim Walz who would rather bring in these Chinese solar panels than let Minnesotans create their own energy.
Right.
Well, I know Tim Walz did say at a DNR roundtable that the climate change is affecting his running. So,
oh yeah.
So I mean,
you mean like jogging, running?
It's affecting his running. Yes, he's climate change is making it more difficult for him to run. So I mean, he's probably just in it for his own personal gain. And of course, we know that they're letting wolves overpopulate here. So if in the wintertime, 10 years or whatever, when we have all wind and solar energy and mandatory electric furnaces, and that goes down and 80% of people die and they're passing through the digestive system of wolves, well, we will have much less carbon being emitted.
Okay, you got a rumble rant here. Don't eat that wing. You got a rumble rant.
Tucker 91, I say we cut the power to the governor's mansion to reduce Walz's carbon
footprint.
What's
going on?
Well, you know what? The interesting thing about cutting the power to the governor's mansion is it's already under renovation. So he's not even living in the governor's mansion. Do you know that our governor actually doesn't have a home? He's homeless.
Should we cut the power to Mike, what's his name? 2014 Republican U.S. Senate candidate.
Oh, Mike McFadden?
Mike
No,
McFadden's
that didn't
house?
end up going down.
Oh.
Did you know that?
No.
Oh, yeah. He's living at the president's residence on the U of M campus. The Mike McFadden that at $17,000 a month didn't end up happening, which is crazy. Oh, Minnesota. Number 4. Bad thing about Tim Walz. You hear him like criticizing J.D. Vance. Like, oh, J.D. Vance, he acts like J.D. Vance is like some, you know, you heard him say it, venture capitalist. As a venture capitalist is a bad job, by the way. You know, Tim Walz is a politician. He's a career politician. He hasn't amounted to shit in life. He rose up the ranks.
He's a teacher and a coach.
Yeah, right. He hasn't been in a classroom forever. He's been a freaking politician. All right. So he wants to shit on J.D. Vance, who literally came from nothing. This is what I like about J.D. Vance. If you didn't watch our last show, we do a rundown on who J.D. Vance is. Came from nothing, made something of himself. J.D. Vance also a Marine, Iraq war veteran. Guess what? Walz isn't an Iraq war veteran. Guess why he's not? He dodged a deployment. So number 4 bad thing about Tim Walz, when leadership called upon him to go overseas, because he rose the ranks in the old school National Guard, first Nebraska and then came on a Minnesota Guard, and there's speculation why that happened. He achieved the rank of Master Sergeant, E8, and there's only 9 enlisted ranks, so the next one up is Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major. And he got conditionally promoted to Command Sergeant Major to go on the 1st Brigade deployment in Minnesota. We've had the guy that replaced him on this deployment on our show before. But right before these guys were going to get their activation orders, he got off the deployment, he dodged it, retired so he could run for U.S. Congress. That ended up being a 22-month deployment, the longest deployment in modern-day history to Iraq or Afghanistan by Minnesota's 1st Brigade, 34th Infantry Division. No, a lot of guys on that deployment. I myself am an Iraq war veteran. Didn't go with that unit. Would have loved to because I know a lot of people on that. So he dodged that deployment. So that's number 4. Number 5, and this one we could all debate, but when he was a congressman, and Jesse broke this story, when he was a congressman, I think he was like a freshman congressman. This is like early on in his time. He ends up penning a resolution praising Klaus Schwab and the WEF for their great contributions to society, the World Economic Forum. That's the globalist, elitist group, and this like nobody congressman's penning a resolution promoting the WEF and Klaus Schwab. I think it was their 40th year anniversary or something like that. That's Tim Walz. Now, which one of those things do you disagree with or think belong on that list? Was I perfect?
I don't disagree with any of it. Yeah, no, it's obvious that he's, especially the World Economic Forum, he's obviously tied to Klaus Schwab. I mean, anybody who would create a resolution saying that they've done incredible work, and Klaus Schwab, thank you for everything you've done. I mean, it shows exactly where he is. And, like you're saying, he dodged deployment to become a politician. So he went to Congress, he became the governor, and he's continuing to look for opportunities to climb up the ladder. The Democrats obviously opportunity in him because they can sell him as a fake moderate because he wears plaid. But, the people that are here in the state, we see through it because we've lived through it.
Yep. Okay, so we've got, let's go to A3. I want to break this survey. This is very interesting. This just came out, Survey USA. Okay, this is why I'm going to talk about Survey USA polling, okay? When we were following polls in Minnesota in 2022, when most people were saying big red wave, KSTP commissioned Survey USA to do Minnesota polling, and they were by far the most accurate, okay? So now, who knows? Are they going to be the most accurate this election cycle? I don't know. Dawson, scroll down here to, let's see, number 6. If the election of president were today, and these were the candidates on the ballot, who would you vote for? This was a credibility rating of 3.3 points of basically 1,100 likely voters. Donald Trump, 44%. Joe Biden, 43%. I do have to say, just so you guys know, all right, this is not how we elect president, okay? So this is a sample size nationally. Take it for what it's worth, okay? The way we select our president is by basically a handful of states, okay? And we can get into that internal polling. We've done it a lot on the show. But it does say something. It's very interesting to see the likability or, how just a subset of the nation would vote for these people. So Donald Trump, 44. He's beating Joe Biden 1 point in the margin of error. What I find fascinating, Survey USA has found this in many polls, in the 18 to 34 demographic, Donald Trump's at 45% and Joe Biden's at 35%. Trump is beating Biden by 10 points in the age demographic that the Democrats just traditionally do very well at. And Trump is polling at 20%. This is in green. 20% with blacks and Biden 66%. It's usually like 90-10. And you guys have probably heard that the numbers have doubled for Trump. Now you go down to 7. If it was between these two candidates, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, Trump is 49% and Kamala Harris, I'm sorry, Trump is 45% and Kamala Harris is 42%. So Trump's beating Kamala Harris by more than Joe Biden. So we're led to believe that that's the pick. You know, that's what, I mean, certainly that's in the news right now. It might not be the case. And once again, when it goes to the young people, Trump's dominating her 49% to 34. Number 8, if it was between Donald Trump and Michelle Obama, tied. It's even Steven. And then Gavin Newsom and Trump, this is number 9. Trump's winning 46%, Gavin Newsom 35%. So Gavin Newsom is 11 points behind. Now, I've said this on the show many, many times. I think we predicted going back to last year that I thought what they were going to do is they were going to get rid of Joe Biden. There's going to be a health scare. Now that's all over the news, right? I don't know if it's COVID. This is going to be the health scare. That's a tough one to sell, especially since it's safe and effective vaccines, right? So there's going to be a health scare, and they're going to get rid of him at the convention. They don't want organic campaigns deciding who. They don't want democracy, right? They don't want democracy. So they're going to put Michelle Obama, because of this very thing. I knew she would come with instant name ID and likability. And right now she looks very good. Once again, 1,100 people polled nationwide. So really what matters is a bunch of polls in the swing states, the ones that were really turning the election. But I would venture to say she's going to do better in those states as well than all these other candidates. All right, so and I just showed this to you, Jesse. What is your take on this? I mean, do you still think this is going to move towards Kamala Harris if she's not doing much better, or she's doing actually worse than Biden in this category?
I mean, there's been no reporting that Michelle Obama is interested in taking the role. I mean, she could be doing that on purpose, but nobody's ever reported that she really wants to do it. Maybe she does, but I think that it seems as if they're moving in the direction of Kamala, which is crazy. But it's because Kamala, she couldn't win a primary on her own. If she had, she had a real Democratic primary that was going on this time, if let's imagine a scenario, Joe Biden says, I'm not going to run for re-election. This is going to be an open Democratic primary. I'm going to allow the Democrats to, run through the different candidates, hold debates and everything else. If that was the situation, Kamala Harris would not have become the nominee. That's almost why they had to do it this way. That's why they have to force her through to the convention. Because if they want to run Kamala, this is the only opportunity. She's not going to win a primary by the Democrats, so they have to do it this way. So as of now, if I had to take a wild guess, I'd say they're going to run Kamala because they don't want to pass up a black woman. The only way they can get her to not run would be by promising her the Supreme Court. But the Democrats probably aren't going to win this election anyway, so would she even agree to something like that, or would she rather go for the presidency? I think that Kamala Harris wants that president's job. That's why she's in the role she's in, and I think she's going to go for it, and I think the Democrats are going to have almost no option but to go with Kamala.
All right, here's the one lingering question that a lot of us have been wondering, and I would wonder if you guys, where your heads are at this point, but if Biden really doesn't want to let it go, can they get rid of him? Like, how do they do that?
I've already said it on multiple episodes. Hillary takes him out.
What's that?
Hillary takes him out. He dies. He's old. He's sick.
Oh.
He's got COVID now. He's, oh,
But
Biden
if
died
he
of
dies
COVID.
from COVID, the vaccine's not safe and effective.
I mean, he already got a zillion of them, and he still got COVID. So I guess we already know the answer to that.
Yeah,
one.
but you're statistically better if you get the vaccine. So he's got to be better. He's not gonna go. He's not gonna be hospitalized because he's got the vaccine, right?
Well, everyone knows.
And he's been boosted many times.
People don't live forever. The guy's ancient. You can already see. He walks like
true.
Mr. Burns.
He is ancient. Boy, him coming off Air Force One the other day too looked just terrible. Oh, okay. Let's go to this here. I want to get. Do we have any? Well, let's not go comments. You're still eating chicken wings. My God, you can't train a monkey. It's like, by the way, nice shirt you got on there.
Jake needs to work on his Fauci impression.
What?
Well, That's what Tucker 91 says. Jake
Oh,
needs
I thought I
work on his
nailed
Fauci
it.
impression.
Shoot.
Well, if you like candidates who are conservative, constitutional conservatives, they're going to stand up for you. And you don't really care if the candidate is endorsed by the MPPOA. You might want to consider going with us tomorrow night down to Coates and Hampton and Vermilion and New Trier to drop some flyers for a Drew for House campaign event, followed by a delicious Friday night fish fry at New Trier. One of the best fish fries around. So
Where's that at?
it's at Dan's. You know where New Trier is?
No.
So, okay.
What town?
New Trier is the town.
I've never even heard of that.
It's between Hampton and Meesville. You know where either of those are?
I do know where both of those are.
It's right between those.
That would be, just so you guys understand, he's naming two really, really small towns. So why I don't know where New Trier or whatever that is probably because it's between two really small towns.
Fantastic Friday night fish fry.
S. Mary says, spot on Fauci impression. I thought I did good. I thought I did good. I didn't even rehearse that.
Marie 9986.
S. Marie 9986. And I haven't even seen SS Marie 9986 before in the comment section. So the lovely S. Marie, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I thought it was pretty good. I got to admit. I'm my own biggest critic.
True
Right Space
Seeker.
tonight live on Alpha News. Is that really still happening?
I guess it is.
That's so dumb. Who's going to watch it?
Well, apparently they're going to have the debate and then stream Trump's speech right after it in
really?
in the room.
So it's before Trump's debate.
Yep, it's before Trump's speech, apparently.
So I'll watch
it starts at 7 or something like that, 7:15. The debate does.
Something
Now
like
I imagine
that,
that Trump's not speaking till later.
Yeah,
They've
probably
been
9.
running each of these RNC convention nights pretty late. So,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they're closing out with Trump. There's nobody who's going to follow Trump.
Yeah. Okay, so actually, we're going to show you in our post show a special clip of Trump and Biden made a guest appearance on a very popular show together. This is crazy, but this is in the post show. If you want to join our post show, by the way, go to Rumble and click on join. Okay, let's go to Drew Roach is in the comment sections. Thanks, Paul. And Righty said, you did well, Jake. I thought I did a good job on my Fauci impression. And now I'm conflicted, and I'm going to be nervous to not do it again.
When Tim Walz was like a freshman in Congress, he apparently authored that resolution, right? And you wonder sometimes, where do these guys come from? Where do they come from? These left-wing authoritarian, tyrants. Where do they come from? Dawson, do we have any evidence of where these left-wing authoritarian tyrants come from?
I saw your meme that you posted. It was very funny. Let me pull it up.
Did he send you some? Did he send you something like after the show began?
Yeah. It was like
I
3
sent him
minutes
2
ago.
things. There was a second one I sent you after the show began. So where do these left-wing authoritarian tyrants come from?
You know when the show begins. That's what gets me. It's like it starts at 1 o'clock, and yet you send him.
I found that on the internet.
Yeah.
Sure.
So where do they come from? Apparently left-wing authoritarian tyrants come from Nebraska.
How about that?
Okay. All right. This episode's also brought to you by Yes Solutions. We had the Patriot Carla Nelson in studio last week. If you're shipping freight, whether it's a pallet or multiple truckloads, you got to call someone that understands what to do. I mean, basically who to go with and how to ship this stuff. I don't know how to ship this kind of stuff. So if I was shipping larger freight, whether it's a pallet or truckload, I would call Yes Solutions. The Patriot Carla Nelson says, call Kyle at 651-797-2451. Did we have the number up on the screen there, Dawson? You got to call Yes Solutions at 651-797-2451. A small business that's local. Give the Patriot Carla Nelson your business. All right, let's get into.
And to be clear, that's the Patriot Carla Nelson,
Patriot
not the
Carla
Rhino
Nelson, not the
Senator
Senator,
Carla
that's
Nelson.
right.
That several people from the local subscribers from the show on Tuesday would know a little something about.
There you go. By the way, our sponsor, Warren Wessel of Keller Williams Realty, is in the comment section right now and says it was a great Fauci. I think. Oh, Marty says, I thought your impression was great, Jake. Now I feel like you're fake news.
Wow.
I think you're fake news.
Who's fake news?
You.
Me.
Probably because you didn't get the vaccine.
No, I was not the one I said. I was reading the comments.
All right. Go back. The people will see.
I'm neutral
I was
party
good.
here.
I was great. I went on a limb on that one too. All right. Let's get into this is what we really all care about. I'm just gonna put it this way. Donald Trump was this close to being assassinated. Donald Trump was this close to having his head blow up on high-def television last Saturday evening. And we're moving on in the world like, okay, that happened, but we got other things to talk about. What are we talking about here? The guy was almost assassinated on live TV, and we have no idea why this guy did it. We have no idea how this guy was able to pull off a shot like that. And we're just supposed to move on. Oh, I mean, should we even care that Biden's got COVID right now? First of all, who the hell still tests themselves for COVID? Like, what? Aren't you safe and effective? So, anyhow, it's amazing how many news stories are still leading right now after this incredible thing that almost like literally changed the dynamics of the world. Because, you know, if Trump was assassinated last Saturday, can you imagine what this country would be like right now? And it definitely would have gone beyond our borders.
Well, you said we don't know who did it. We don't know why he did it
know
or
who
how
did
he
it.
did it. If we have questions about this assassination, we could have Janice Quinlan from Quinny's Pub and Grill.
She said she'll do it. She
to come
said
on the show and
yep. She
get
said
us
her
up
and
to
Sheila
speed.
will do it. Now they are awesome and they go deep, and I think they're wrong about a lot of things. Okay, although Janice and I and Sheila agree on a lot of things too, but I think they go deep. But at this point, I'm just and Dawson are going to try to steelman some of this stuff with whatever the official narrative is that we're steelmanning. I don't know what that is, but here is probably the most up to date stuff. This is ABC report as of last night, and there's really no huge details unless I missed something in the last 30 minutes. But let's go ahead and play this B1. This is from ABC News report last night.
There'll be audio in just a second. Don't worry.
Former President Trump. Video obtained by ABC station WTAE appearing to show the alleged gunman Thomas Crooks walking the perimeter of the rally about 1 hour before the former president was shot. And tonight, the FBI briefing lawmakers, and a disturbing timeline has now emerged. The gunman was actually identified as a person of interest 62 minutes before the first shots were fired. He approached security, but when he saw the magnetometers, he apparently backed away. And the Secret Service saw him on that roof a full 20 minutes before he fired at the former president. So what's going on here? Pierre Thomas studying this timeline. Here's his new reporting tonight.
Tonight, stunning new images appearing to show Donald Trump's would-be assassin, Thomas Matthew Crooks, 1 hour before he opened fire. Police believe that this is Crooks in a video obtained by ABC affiliate WTAE, walking near the campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday, at one point looking towards the crowd. Sources telling ABC News,
Hey, pause it right
Crooks
there,
walked
Dawson.
toward the security
Pause, go back. Okay, so I'm just gonna let's just put me as a somewhat person knowledgeable in security. I spent 8 years as an infantry officer, 4 years enlisted. Okay, so I know a little bit about security. Now that's a military component, but I think there's some things that just translate because we're still dealing with humans. Okay, I was never in the Space Force, right? So here we go. That guy looks suspicious as hell. He looks out of place. I would imagine this guy was identified. I think this report's talking about it, but just the way that guy is in an era no one else is at, and pacing and moving the way he is, just raises alarms right off the bat. You have to imagine Secret Service is surveilling the whole area. That's their whole job. I've been to these events before. They're surveilling the areas. So right away, I see that and I go, man, this guy was suspicious as hell. And apparently went up to the metal detectors and got scared away from that. Oh, all right. Continue on here there, Dawson.
with the magnetometers. Did something suspicious, is approached by authorities, he backs up and fades into the crowd. And tonight, the FBI briefing lawmakers, who gave ABC News a detailed timeline. At 5:10 p.m., Crooks is first identified as a person of interest, a full 62 minutes before the first shots. At 5:30, Crooks was spotted with a rangefinder, which can be used to determine distances for target practice.
Stop.
Sources
Okay,
telling
now,
ABC News.
all right, you know what I use rangefinders for, right? For hunting, okay? You know, as an archer, you need to have a really accurate count of distance because, like, 50 yards compared to 30 yards is a massive difference when you're shooting on a deer or an elk. Also, when rifle hunting, if you got an elk on the other side of a canyon, you want to range it 350 yards, okay? That's what they're used for. How is this guy putting up a rangefinder And that doesn't set the alarms off. That's just insanity to my head. Like, I just can't believe that he's observed using a rangefinder, and that's not like the biggest tell right there. By the way, rangefinders also used by snipers or, rookie or wannabe snipers in this case. All right, go ahead. Continue on. By the way, the other thing that, and I'll get to it, just look at the size of this damn roof. This is so obviously an area that needs to be under surveillance. I don't necessarily believe that cops need to be on top of this building, but it needs to be looked at all times. And despite what the chief of the Secret Service is saying, that is not a very sloped roof. All right.
Yeah, but Jake, I don't have audio on this or anything, but if you want the best of the best,
you would have audio if you were here on time.
If you want the best of the best to protect the president, you're going to end up with probably a group that doesn't include the requisite number of homosexuals or East Indian people of East Indian descent or whatever else. And if you're not going to have that kind of DEI, inclusionary things, then you're going to, that if you want that, you're going to end up without the full spectrum of genders and sexual orientations. And so you can have one or the other, Jake. You can't have both.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, continue on.
He's able to get on that roof by climbing over air conditioning units. At 5:52, Crooks was spotted on the roof by the Secret Service, a full 20 minutes before the shooting. 6:02, Trump takes the stage. 6:12, Crook fires those shots, killing one man and nearly taking Trump's life. A sniper killing Crooks 26 seconds after he fires the first shot.
Did you know that? It was 26 seconds later?
Decision. And,
I didn't know that before.
They have the ability to make that decision on their own.
But how Crooks was able to get on that roof undetected, still sending shockwaves through law enforcement. And local authorities in Butler, Pennsylvania, starting to push back.
The deputies under my control did their job and went above and beyond after the shooting stopped and the chaos began.
And sources telling ABC News that before the rally, local authorities warned the Secret Service that they would not be able to provide enough police personnel to cover all the buildings. Sources say the Secret Service asked for a police cruiser to be stationed at the building and that the request was denied. Officers were stationed inside the complex of buildings, but somehow everyone missed Crooks climbing onto that roof. And this new video coming in tonight of former President Trump being brought to the hospital minutes after being shot, surrounded by Secret Service. And David, sources are telling us tonight when the FBI exploited Crooks' phone and other devices, they discovered he had looked at photos of both President Biden and former President Trump and had been looking at their schedules.
That's the narrative.
But these are extraordinary developments, Pierre, to have been labeled a person of interest a full hour before shots were fired, and that Secret Service sniper saw him on that roof 20 minutes before he opened fire. I know you're going to stay on this. Pierre Thomas with the new reporting
That's
tonight.
the narrative I think they're trying to craft right now is that, this guy is actually trying to go after both of them. It wasn't just against Trump. It was he was trying to go after Biden, and luckily he didn't go after Biden. We'll see. I've seen that narrative a couple times already, and that's usually how you see it crafted. Okay, here's like from an Army officer's perspective. Okay, never ever serving on Secret Service. Okay, so I don't know what their TTPs are, but pull up B3. I just was bringing this up in the.
Is this the diagram that you drew the other day that you provided in the thread of the what really happened?
I actually didn't draw that. That was a meme I found, but it looked like I could have done that. This is just a range card, okay? This is what a basic trainee in the U.S. Army infantry would know, okay? This right out basic training. And essentially, let me just kind of tell you what these are used for. Let's say you're in a perimeter, okay? Because the Army wants to have all 360 degrees covered. And so you got, we'll just say, a platoon-size element in a 360-degree perimeter. And so you have these intersecting range fans. You see how it's forming this? This is, let's just say, a position of one soldier. The next soldier would have an intersecting range fan so that it all covers 360 degrees, okay? And the idea of this is to actually investigate the area you're overlooking because it's beneficial when it gets dark to know certain things in your area, or if someone has to replace you, they know the things are in the area. Or if it's not, you're not being replaced, it's not dark, you know what's in the area, it's making you think. This is just what every basic training soldier knows is when you're doing security, you are observing the area you're at. On this one, it happens to show like an intersecting road, which would be maybe a pinch point for something. Also, avenues of approach. That's why roads would be on here. It's showing like a section of woods where you wouldn't be able to see something. Something could be behind it. Also shows what looks like is a hilltop there on the top. And the hilltop behind it has the hidden zone, an area you can't see. I know what you were talking about. So this would be just very obvious to anyone is a basic training soldier. You would have a sketch of the area that you're covering. I would imagine when you got a counter sniper team with a Secret Service that does this every day of the year, that they have some TTP very similar to these sketch cards, okay? I would imagine that's just typically what's going on is they have their own range card for what they're observing. And how do you miss a rooftop with line of sight to the president's stage? And it's only 150 yards away, which any modern rifle has very little problem shooting at that distance. You couldn't. I mean, what is the scale on this range card here? I'm trying to see it. I mean, we would imagine on a range card, this would be hundreds of meters. This one looks like they're saying it goes out to thousands of meters. It really depends on, what you are. If you're obviously a Bradley unit, you would be reaching out further than a light infantry unit. So these guys would have to be looking hundreds of yards away. And this thing is 150 yards away. It's insanity. So I just don't understand. Okay, but I want to try to steelman their side. And so I was thinking, what is the range of things that I believe? What are we, Thursday at about 2 o'clock? The range of things that I believe this could be. And on the range of the most innocent, if I could use that term, and which seems to be what would be the narrative, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong on it, is you literally have one guy somehow got radicalized, we don't know how it is, decided he was obviously deranged, decided he was going to go shoot President Trump probably that day or maybe a couple days in advance, all by himself, lone man, and somehow just found all the gaps in security. Okay? I think that's the one we got to steal, man. Now, in the range of beliefs that I have, I'm going to put it out the more conspiracy route. I think some of these conspiracies are crazy, but it would be that this guy somehow was radicalized by some element, whether that's our own government or something else, and there was people inside the Secret Service that allowed these security gaps to occur. All right? So like second shooters, or this was staged by Trump, things like that. None of that I believe. But I think my range of belief is one man acting alone, somehow was deranged and took it amongst himself, wants to be proud, wants to make a name for himself. Thomas Crooks will be known now forever, right? Acted amongst himself and just so happened to find all the gaps in security by one of the best security agencies in the world, the best security agency in the world, I would imagine. That's maybe the official narrative versus this guy was radicalized in some regard, and there was a concerted effort by people in the Secret Service to allow some security gaps to happen, or some combination of that. Do you guys, can we play this game here a little bit? Because once again, this is Thursday, July 18th at 2 o'clock p.m. That's the best we have. I mean, you saw the ABC report. There's nothing monumental from then. All right. So this is a tweet that I saw a bunch of questions, and I thought this would be fun to play. Okay, and I really would love to hear what you guys have to say. Let's go ahead and read some of these comments here, what people are saying. Let's start with Tucker.
Which one are we starting with?
Representative Corey Mills was former Special Forces sniper. He said there was so much that went wrong that he cannot rule out that it was intentional. And there you go. That's a good case in point. Yep. North Minnesota. Do you have these on your?
Yeah. When they can't cover, they put a line of sight barrier. According to Bongino, why no barrier? I don't know what that is. Why no barrier? Tucker 91. It's not a mystery how this guy was radicalized.
Well, I think it is a mystery.
By Dem propaganda.
I think it is a mystery. I think it's safe to say that's a possibility, but it's a mystery at this point, right?
It's true. I mean, well, and even though, so there's, I don't know, 100.
Oh, Brad says, are there any wings left? I'm in the area. Come on by, Brad.
Yeah,
or failed candidate.
I'll save you one.
Failed candidate, whoever you are.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, there's 100 million Democrats in the country, and so for 8 or 9 straight years, they've said Trump is literally Hitler.
Yeah.
And 100 million people didn't take a shot at Trump. So it's like, it's not a mystery how he was radicalized. Well, I mean, there's not 100 million people trying to take a shot at Trump. It's this guy. So there's something. Of course, the Democrats' propaganda, but I mean, who utilized that? Who befriended him as a? I mean, I've seen it in my own Senate district. Years ago, where there were some Ron Paulers and there were some, patriot type guys, and some Fed or whatever showed up and was like, "Hey, let's commit some terrorism," and come on, guys. And pretty soon, a dude ended up in Leavenworth. But seriously, I mean, this, so it's not unheard of, right? That you find somebody that says Trump's literally Hitler. All right, well, let's take him out, and like talk somebody into it, and then they, blow his head off so he can't talk.
All right, Dawson, pull up. Let's see, the B2. This is the Vigilant Fox, and he attached a Joe Rogan clip. Joe Rogan's had one guest on since the assassination. At least that's been public. The whole thing stinks of either incompetence or design, or we're in on the Matrix. That's a quote from Rogan. Okay, so he writes, 1 or 2 mistakes is one thing, but 10 plus anomalies is highly suspicious. So let's try Steelman this. Number 1, no local law enforcement was on the rooftop used by a shooter. All right, I think I already kind of Steelman that one. They don't need to be on the rooftop. They just need to cover the rooftop. They have to have eyes on that very clear area, which would give line of sight in an elevated position. Elevated position is very important. Can we agree on that one I think we could throw out? The whole point in having a hang is that we all are on page and that. Yeah, Jesse? Tucci? Can we agree on that?
It's important to have an elevated position?
No, that no local law enforcement was on the rooftop used by the shooter. I could definitely see in this case, they don't need to have local law enforcement on the top of that. They just need to be observing or...
yeah, well, they should be local law enforcement should be at least as observant as all the drunken, MAGA hat wearing, Trump loving people that were like, "Hey, cops, there's a gunman on the roof," right? Have you seen the meme with Tiger Woods and I don't know who's that guy, John, somebody that smokes 2 packs a day and drinks a case of beer, on the
John
green
Daly,
together, John Daly, yeah, and it's like, on Tiger Woods, it's like the top security team in the world, and on John Daly, like a bunch of drunken MAGA guys pointing at the shooter on the roof.
Yeah. Razzle Dazzle says, "Did you see Candace's interview with Alex Jones this week? Great hour." No, I didn't. Alex Jones is saying there's going to be way more of this stuff, and I don't know. Alex Jones has made some interesting calls, but man, you got to take a lot of what he says with grain of salt. I did see him on what's the comedian we like, Tim Dillon, okay, and that was immediately following it, but I will check that out with Candace's interview because a lot of us want to find answers. Number 2, and jump in on any of these here, Dawson. Just let me know. When law enforcement was notified by citizens of the shooter, there was no prompt action at the rooftop to neutralize the shooter. That's the one that one puzzles the shit out of me. As ABC reports, 26 minutes ahead of the shot, the Secret Service was aware of this guy being on the rooftop. How is this not dealt with? I don't understand that.
I think that it's pretty clear that as a whole, this was probably one of the biggest fumbles that could be caused by the Secret Service. As far as I know, too, it was kind of like a conjunctive effort between the police over there and also the Secret Service. So I don't know if there was just a crap ton of miscommunications within them all. I don't know if they were just sleeping on the job. I don't know what happened, but obviously, presidents around probably shouldn't be sleeping on the job is what I would say.
Okay. Number 3.
Truth Seeker says they set up people in the Whitmer attempt, and Wings says, "Join us in studio, field candidate. I'll share a few delicious wings from Quinny's Pub and Grill with you."
Yeah, so wait a second. Did you just out yourself as Wings?
Well, who do you think is going to be Wings? Come on.
Wait, but
you know which one my handle is.
No, but Wings.
You know what my handle is.
Wings has always talked to you in the third person.
No.
So how often do you do that?
No, I only read the Wings. I read the comments from Wings here, but
I feel like you weren't acting like that was you before. Okay, anyhow, moving on.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, it is. Number 3, local law enforcement failed to initiate active shooter protocol to protect Trump and the crowd. It's an interesting point. If you know there's a threat, an active threat in the area, wouldn't you have alerted Trump to this? Number 4, There was no apparent communication from local law enforcement to the Secret Service to get Trump to get us to a secure location. Okay, my steelman on this one is there was a breakdown in communication. Okay, now that does happen on operations, and in this case, you're going, town to town. It's a campaign trail. You just had a breakdown in communication between the local police forces and the Secret Service. Is that fair, Dawson? I think that's a decent steelman on that argument.
I think that miscommunications are common enough. They shouldn't be, but
right. It's definitely a problem, and you would imagine the Secret Service has got this stuff figured out better than anyone else, but it still would happen. Number 5, police snipers on the roof used binoculars to track the shooter's position and did not warn Secret Service below to get Trump off the stage. So ABC News reports this guy was identified 20-some minutes beforehand, but no one ever told Trump or Trump's people. Trump was only speaking for like 10 minutes. So they know there's a guy on the rooftop. By the way, they know a guy's on the rooftop with a rifle, right? Right? Mm-hmm. Don't we have a drone that just flies over and can see very clearly what this guy... Right? All right. Now, how am I going to steelman this one? They didn't have a drone that day? Like, I don't get it. They didn't know that he was an active threat? They thought he was just climbing on the rooftop to listen? It's like that...
or they thought he was a cop.
Zacchaeus climbing the tree to see Jesus, right? Did I nail that one? Did I get that one there, Mr. Bible?
Yep.
Okay. It's amazing how much scripture you know, by the way, Tushi. All right, number 6. Police snipers under scope vision allowed the shooter to get set and shoot 6 rounds at Trump. I didn't know this until that ABC report came out. It took the counter snipers 26 seconds to return fire. That is a long time.
It didn't seem like that on the videos.
Didn't seem like it.
It seemed like I heard the shots and then they said shooters down. I mean, like it seemed like 5 seconds or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that, according to the ABC video right there, you just saw it. They said 26 seconds.
I didn't have any audio on it, so
I've
did
seen
not hear
you.
them
Oh,
say
I'm
that.
sorry. I seen you. Well, I'm not sorry. You showed up late.
Hey, Dawson, failed candidate says, "Get me a setup. I'm 3 minutes out," and that was probably a minute ago.
No. Stop asking for things. Jeez, just come on set. You know what to do. No, I know. He knows what to do. Of course, he's going to out himself now. Failed candidate. And is he going to come in with a disguise? 26 seconds. I've seen Tushi have one small doe in his crosshairs and shift to another small doe in his crosshairs within 26 seconds. So this is insanity.
This is 130, 150 yards. Like I dropped 3 running deer in about probably 10 seconds at 150 yards on December 30th, 2017, which I think I've talked about on this program before, right?
Yeah, by the way, I think we're obligated to read the comments of our sponsors, so we might as well read that one.
Warren Wessel, great Bible reference for a CEO / Creaster, Jake?
Creaster, do you know what Creaster is?
No.
So I'm pastor's son. Creasters are people that go to church on Christmas and Easter.
Ah, I see.
Yes. More than that there, Warren, but points well made. Points well made. I don't sing in the choir every Sunday like you, Warren. Warren, by the way, as I said before, great realtor. His humor's, his real estate prowess and abilities are way above and beyond how he is in the humor category as a comedian. Okay, just want to let you know that. And in the church choir, he's moderate to moderate good. Number 7, a police sniper got off the scope and looked with naked eye to be sure the shooter had taken his shots and never looked down at Trump. If I was steelman in this one, I'd say, at this point, his job is to take out a threat. Why is his job to look at Trump? I mean, I'm sure he's hearing that Trump was shot, so he doesn't need to actually look at Trump. So I would say his job is to look at I don't think that one's a valid one. Number 8. Finally, a police sniper shot Crooks. So it makes it sound like it wasn't actually Secret Service that shot him. I thought it was Secret Service that had the counter sniper that took him out. So it was a local cop? It's interesting. Number 9, no local police went up to the roof immediately after Crooks was shot to take away his gun and check on his status. Don't know why that's necessary at that point. Once again, they've got enough observation on this gentleman that they could tell he's a neutralized threat. Okay, so I don't know if that's relevant. Number 10, All the while, there was no active shooter protocol and no warning was given to Trump or the audience. I think that's redundant, but once again, another fair point. Why Trump and Trump's people didn't know about this? I would imagine we would know at this point if that was the case, but I don't know. So, I think, I mean, Jesse, if I had, I was going to say gun to your head. I'm not going to say that. If you had to pick what happened, what do you think actually occurred? What do you think the scenario is? Is there some conspiracy that occurred?
Well, in between the 2 points you were saying is let it happen on purpose. You know, that's also a theory that is out there of that they knew about this, that they had the idea that this was going to go on, but they let it happen anyway. That's probably a scenario that's got to be. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to go back and sound stupid. You know, I don't want to speculate. We'll see what the answers are.
Failed candidate says, hungry, let me in. You got to go around, man. We're in the show, and I don't have an extra person.
Do you want me to go get it?
Yeah, go get him. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Failed candidate. I guess he's going to reveal himself for the first time ever. I've had some suspicion who failed candidate is. All right, can we confirm it? I don't know. We're about to confirm it. Yeah, that's who I thought it was. So, is he grabbing a Diet Coke first? Come on in. Reveal yourself, failed candidate.
No, I talked to him. He can't make it.
He can't make it? So, all right. So, unfortunately, failed candidate, even though he said he was going to come on the show because he was in the area.
Failed candidate, you
he
want
said
some
he
wings?
sent Brad Ganser instead.
I'll take them. I'm hungry.
He sent Brad Ganser, who won't actually have a camera now that I think about it, because it hasn't been set up for you. So.
Oh shit, you're right.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I've been listening.
Why don't you come stand over my shoulder?
I did say Dawson could be here in 3 minutes. Jake said, "Quit asking for stuff. You know how to do this." So maybe.
No, we can't get you on camera. You gotta come on Tucci's set or my set. It's gonna be the worst.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, okay, all right. He's got to shift.
You know, Dawson gets a lot of grief, but he's pretty damn good.
Exactly. I actually become more Team Dawson on a lot of this stuff because I'm like, geez, you know.
Great show, by the way.
Thank you. Okay. One of our biggest fans, Brad Ganser. See if you're a paid what?
I swapped to Brad and I catch him glancing into the camera, just like it's just silly. Yeah. It's silly.
Top tier talent.
Show
here.
prep.
Oh
yeah, show prep.
See,
yeah, definitely.
Failed candidate. Thanks for coming later than me. I mean, that was really.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He's not a paid regular. You're a paid regular. There's an expectation when you're a paid regular to be on time.
Yeah, there was one more thing I did want to show on here, Dawson. It's on line 19. Go ahead and click that link right there on line 19 because this is something I haven't seen anybody else point this out yet, but it's probably the only race in the country where Trump and J.D. Vance have endorsed different candidates. So, you know,
wait. What are we talking about right now?
Well, it's not relevant to what you guys are talking about, but
oh my god!
But it's not.
This is exactly what I was saying.
Yeah,
the news cycle moved. I'm looking over at Jesse this whole time. And he's just like doesn't care. I'm like, what is going on with Jesse? Why is he not participating?
I mean, you know,
his head was Trump.
Hey,
can we get my Wolgamon meme on there?
I just didn't. You know, I'd rather talk about something that nobody else is talking about.
Yeah.
District 8, scroll down to it, Dawson.
Hey, Jesse, when this is done without objection, we can go to my Dan Wolgamont meme that I gave I sent to Dawson.
Keep going down.
How long is this?
Show prep.
Number 8.
It's just a hang.
Okay, there we go. So you'll see all these different Republican candidates who are listed out there. 2 establishment names on there. Trent Franks, former congressman, who is endorsed by Debbie Lesko, who is giving up her seat right now. She's the one who is retiring. She was the one who is putting Trent Franks as the guy who is saying put him in there. Scroll down just a little bit. I can't see the other candidate who I'm thinking of here. Ben Toma. He is the Speaker of the House. He is another major Rhino candidate who actually he's the one who's endorsed by Debbie Lesko, but you know, so those are the 2 big rhinos who are in there that are running for this position. But the big thing that I'm talking about here is how Blake Masters and Abe Hameda are the 2, you know, considered to be America First candidates who are running in this position. This is the only race that I know of in the entire country where J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are endorsing different candidates in the primary. Trump is behind Abe. I prefer Abe as well. While Blake the Snake, Blake the Fake Masters, is also running in this race. He's got the support of people like William Beck and J.D. Vance. So, this is an election that it really shows the differentiation between MAGA and that there's, really two.
Well, the Williams
arguably
never come
MAGA
out public
candidates.
about this. You're like quoting a thread that we have, a signal thread.
Right. But,
Oh, my God. Poor William.
Well, he does have the support of that.
William would stand by Blake Masters, too. And I'm just saying that it's an interesting race that I haven't seen other people talking about, that, these endorsements were put out there before J.D. Vance was named the VP candidate for Trump. But Blake Masters is, tied to J.D. Vance through the financial games and everything. So, he's also in the same industry. But I think Abe is the guy, and I think that Trump has it all figured out. It's interesting that him and J.D. Vance are behind different people. I wonder if it's ever going to get brought up into the news cycle at all. But I'm with Abe all the way. I think Abe is the guy. I watched the debate. I thought that Abe is as America First as it gets, and I'm excited to see how that primary ends up shaking out, because I hope that these two guys don't end up splitting the America First vote so that one of those rhinos can just slide right up in there.
I'm having Tushy call William right now. I don't feel like this was done fair.
Oh, sure.
Please leave your message.
Oh, he's not taking it. Oh, look at this working
driving.
man.
Yeah.
I know he's driving right now.
Is
He's
he driving? Where's he
on the
driving?
road.
Well, he could never
I don't know.
possibly
He said he
defend
won't
Blake
back till
Masters
Tuesday.
anyway.
I don't know where he's
so.
going. Maybe he's going down to Arizona's 8th district to work for Blake
No,
the Snake.
text him.
Yeah.
Tell him we need to sell something on the show. We're live on the show.
All right.
Tell him to call you
All
back.
right.
We're
I
live
will.
on the show.
I will,
I don't
James.
always have my phone on the studio
Yes,
just in case
sir.
I don't want to get distracted. This is
starting
the most interesting thing ever. It's actually the least interesting thing ever.
If Blake the Snake were to publicize that endorsement of William Beck, he would be guilty of violating 211B, the same statute Rhino Ron Krisha has violated multiple times.
Because it's not written?
Because it's not. He didn't have the endorsement in writing. It's not.
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's bad. Well, it's in a private writing.
Krisha's just making up the endorsement.
I cannot.
I'm endorsed by the party. I'm
Failed
endorsed by
candidate
the
says-
Maybe I'm just
Sleeve.
as bad as Blake Masters now because I'm leaking private
I can't believe we
conversations,
are talking
I'm
about
leaking private texts,
conspiracies.
but
We were talking about conspiracies of an assassination attempt on his favorite person on the planet, Donald Trump, and he doesn't have any interest in talking about it. I'm just I'm beside myself right now.
Everybody's speculating about it. I'm giving you something that nobody else is
Razzle
talking
says I'm
about.
bored. Can we start Royce's debate early? I mean, yeah. All right, I'm going to bring us back, okay? But now Jesse's going to like this. Jesse's going to like it because we do have one other topic. It's brought to you by Alpine Cabinetry, another great sponsor up in St. Cloud. We got to talk about
St. Cloud or East St. Cloud?
We're going to talk about St. Cloud. We're going to talk about Dan Wolgamott District. Sylvester the Cat, we call him. Wolgamott, I mean, you guys remember this guy? He's the one that was chugging a bottle of vodka in the parking lot of
At
a
like
liquor
10
store.
a.m., right?
It was not, that was not late in the day. In a rural part of the state, Morrow, Minnesota. I've been to a liquor store when I go like hunting. It's a nice place. Good prices. Awesome store. Really big store from Morrow, Minnesota.
I've shopped there.
Have you shopped there?
Yeah.
What'd you get, Jäg?
I did get Jägermeister, yes.
Your thing.
Of course he did.
I've been told that your wing sauce will have Jägermeister in it. Anyhow, this discredited guy got endorsed by somebody. Let's get into this story here. C1. Pull up C1 there, Dawson.
Is that
This is Jesse's story on actionforliberty.com. I
Yep,
love it.
so
Absolute vodka.
There you can see a police group is endorsing a drunk driver now for office. So, even though this is very recent and he's actually the MPPOA former candidate of, legislator of the year, they have just announced that they are going to re-endorse him for this election cycle. So my laptop just died, so scroll down a little bit so I can read it on there.
That show is going so swimmingly.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that by a hang you mean hanging the producer or something.
That's something. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, but Executive Director Brian Peters, he is the one who is leading the charge on MPPOA. He is the one who has started this whole movement where they have supported gun control. The gun control that they were pushing was pushed by radical leftist Dave Pinto, which was requiring background checks for all firearm sales and transfers. So that requires that even if you're selling it or giving it to a family member, even if it's just between friends, they require the government to insert themselves in your business. So the MPPOA put out a statement using liberal talking points, calling semi-automatic rifles weapons of war, and stated that we needed these gun control laws because there is a threat of gun violence against the citizens, against the police officers. So they're the ones who are trying to manipulate and use the Democrats' gun control to target the citizens, strip away our constitutional rights, And what a shame that the MPPOA, a group that is supposed to be looking out for police officers, law enforcement, instead, what are they doing? They're helping the Democrats push gun control. They're trying to take away our constitutional rights instead of protecting it. Keep on scrolling down there, Dawson, because it's not just gun control that the MPPOA, keep scrolling, Dawson, that they are going after, because you can also see right there, they are also in support of illegal immigrants having driver's licenses. So we have police officers who now have a tougher job because of the MPPOA. The MPPOA put out that statement below that shows that they are in support of driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. That's not what Minnesotans want. That's not what the police want. It's making the police jobs a whole lot harder. And so, that just shows the policies that the MPPOA is pushing for. So it should come as no surprise that they are endorsing Democrats like Dan Walgamot, who recently got caught drunk driving for drinking vodka in the liquor store parking lot. And they've also endorsed, they made Judy Seeberger their legislator of the year, who is pro-child mutilation, pro-gun control. And then they've also endorsed...
vote on those things, in fact.
What's that?
The deciding vote on all those things,
exactly, right. Yep, in the 34-33 Senate.
Why don't they just do us all a favor and endorse Nicole Mitchell, too, while they're at it?
Right, they might as well at this point, because they've also endorsed psychotic Angie Craig.
Now I know why they previously liked Rhino Ron Krisha, because Rhino Ron also was on the radio advocating for driver's licenses for illegals, which is the MPPOA's preferred, position, that the illegals get driver's licenses.
Right, exactly. It's not even just that they would tolerate the position; they were advocating for the position. They were telling legislators, "Please vote for this. We want driver's licenses for illegals."
And they didn't only support Angie Craig. Brian Peters, as you know, I don't know if you're getting to this, was Angie Craig's guest to Biden's State of the Union address.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
You guys didn't know that?
No.
Yeah. I went to ask him about it at Drew Roach's endorsing convention when Brian Peters was one of the speakers for his opponent, who got, after Brian Peters endorsed him, and then Annette Meek seconded the nomination, and then McKnight, or as my phone autocorrects his name to, McNugget, got 22% of the vote, 22% to Drew's 77%. So I meant to go up and ask him about how the State of the Union was with Angie Craig's guest, but
why is Brian Peters? By the way, I don't know this guy. I've spoken to him once because they accidentally endorsed Brad Dapke over Eric Mortensen in 2020, and then they reneged on it. But these guys, I mean, he's a crony. He's a huge crony. The only other time I've had a run-in with the guy was he was drunk Facebook commenting on my wall, ripping on Paul Gazelka. And he's like, Paul Gazelka's an honorable man. What have you ever done for this country? I was like, really?
What?
Really, bitch? God, that's a crony. But they're terrible. They make endorsements all the time that don't work.
How do you know that he was drunk?
Oh, just what he was saying is like, well, I hope so. I hope he was drunk.
Was he driving, though, at the time? Because that is the official MPPO position.
No, he's not the Hennepin County Sheriff, former Hennepin County Sheriff.
Hold Dawson, on. Speaking of Dawson, do you have any other graphics about Wolgamott? No. The one before that, no?
You're gonna.
Yes, I sympathize with Dawson just as much as you, Brad. That's
okay. I found one.
There we
go. Okay, what do we have?
Let me see how much of a banger this one is.
How much of a banger
hey, I was going somewhere with
there it is. There's a Wolgamott meme right there. This is on a great Twitter account, MN Ledge Memes. They always have gold.
They do, yeah. Wonder who runs that. Where I was going with this is why are they endorsing Drew Roach's opponent, the Democrat in that race?
Right, I know. So sometimes they endorse Democrats, like so Angie Craig. Well, again, she also invited him as her guest to Biden's State of the Union address. So sometimes they say, well, she's an incumbent and she got a bunch of militarized equipment for some Burnsville police or something like that. And there's, I think, a couple in 56 that might be endorsed as well by MPPOA, Democrats in Senate District 56, because they're incumbents, right? And so they're trying to play nice. That's a 55% Democrat district, and they're the incumbents. So they want something from them. But why in Drew's district, where none of the Democrats, not Walz or Steve Simon or Julie Blaha or what's his name, Keith Ellison, or Liskey's opponent, whoever she was, or Garofalo's opponent, none of them got over 38%. That was the top Democrat vote, 38%. And now they're endorsing this loony lefty that's running against
I have
Drew.
a theory. I have a theory
What's
on this. And we're going to get into the
They're
post show.
butthurt because their candidate and Drew's endorsement. That
Well,
they
yes,
got
but I think it's even
22%.
bigger than that. It's because it's an Action for Liberty guy that they would always say, and they want to go against Action for Liberty. I'm going to. I got some interesting. I wouldn't say gossip. It's not gossip. It's fact. It's fact. Let me tell you how this all comes into play. If you are a subscriber, we're going to do a post show, and I got some really interesting stuff on this, okay? Excellent. So what I want you to do is, if you're not a subscriber, $8 a month or $88 a year, a lot of people are doing annuals, which I love. It's great. You save a month of a subscription by doing the annual. So, and speaking of annual, or guys, we got Brad Ganser, also a subscriber to the show.
Oh.
In fact, subscribers can come into the studio anytime. There's another thing. We're making up the rules as we go along. Subscribers can come on anytime.
Says his wing sauce is just pure Jägermeister, LOL. And S. Dutton89, whoever that might be, says, Tushy, show the back of the shirt.
All right, show Sarah your shirt.
I don't know.
Eviction notice, take back our house.
There goes my microphone.
There you go. Microphone went down.
Might as
There
well
you
go
go.
wash my hands now since I got no napkins from Quinny's today. Quinny's Pub and Grill, fantastic wings, but no napkins.
Oh, okay. They need you to scratch your back too. Oh my God! And he's offset. Okay. Late to come in, first to leave. It's LIFO FIFO. LIFO. Last in, first out. That's my new nickname for Tushy. What?
He's not wearing shoes.
He doesn't wear shoes.
I would prefer it if he does on our black carpeted floor, though.
Yeah, this is so he is so
feet like
inspired by
Fred
JD.
Flintstone.
He's so inspired by JD Vance's Appalachian roots that he doesn't wear shoes around anymore. Appalachian roots. Sorry, not Appalachian. Clearly, I'm not from that area. Actually, my mom's from North Carolina. Tucker says, great show, guys. I think Tucker just says that about every show. I guess Tucker is like our key demo. Like, he loves the show. You do too, Brad.
I love the show.
I appreciate that. I don't know. We lost a lot of people from Tushy eating so many wings on set. I got some pushback on that. I'm not joking. And I was going to have a little conversation with him, before the show, before we did mic checks like normal. And then what does he do? Doesn't tell us until like, actually, that text he put in the thread, it made it sound like he was going to be just he was running late, but 5 minutes ahead of time still. And then he's 5 minutes after time. All right. Your new nickname is LIFO. Do you know what that is in accounting? You're last in, you're first out. I'm glad you're back on set, though, buddy. Okay, so in the post show, go to Rumble, click on join. I got some really interesting stuff to talk about when it comes to MPPOA and Brian Peters and how this is actually infiltrating Republican ranks. This is the thing you get from our show, right? Maybe this is why a lot of people like the show. Because, yes, the left and the Democrats are terrible and they're really ruining this country and they tried to assassinate Donald Trump. Just kidding, that was a conspiracy theory. But this is a problem on the left. We also have a problem on the right. These pretenders, these rhinos, these globalist elites like Tom Emmer and Brian Peters of the MPPOA. We'll talk about it on the show, after show, post show. Even if you're not watching live right now, if you're watching after the fact, if you go to Rumble, click on join, and Dawson, if you could put it in the thread here, the link, if you click on join right now, $8 a month, you could be a subscriber. Helps us, makes us expand what we're doing here, gets us into investigative research and stuff like that. I was going to say funds Tushy's wings. Really doesn't. Actually, Quinny's gives us those wings because it's sponsorship.
Who gives us the wings?
Quinny's
Pub and Grill.
Quinny's Pub and Grill. But anyhow, it helps the show out quite a bit and keeps us on air. So anyhow.
And subscribe now, and you might even hear William Beck call us back.
Is he going to?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
You didn't
if
text
William
back
Beck
yet,
calls
but,
us back.
It's possible.
And we got some other things.
Anything's possible.
Donald Trump and Joe Biden make an appearance on a show together. A lot of people are talking about it. You probably didn't know this, Brad Ganser. They're on a show together. We're going to get into that. All this in the post show. For everyone else, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back on Tuesday. Take care.